nowadays, the COVID masks and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Will that mask stop you from getting COVID? No, but there's a whole buttload of physical particles that won't get through the mask if you sit
Dude,
there and you try to blow them through. Yeah, but
we got to save some of this juicy good Discord
for the
for
stream,
the stream. Yeah.
No, Hocus, Jeff, MC, Master of Ceremonies, welcome to the stream. If you see, I have shared a piece of media that's all about masks.
Right.
I think that we've been arguing about masks since the beginning of time, not just physical masks, but the masks that we wear to hide ourselves from others and ourselves.
yeah, like when you marry someone and then they're not who you thought they were. That's a mask. What do you mean you have a penis? Fuck.
Yes, and like all talismans, they eventually lose their power.
It happens. It happens the other way too. Like, what do you mean you don't have a penis?
Dude, so what's the have you guys seen Sandman commercials?
I haven't seen the actual like series, but I've only seen I've seen commercials for it.
I've heard the song, well, the couple of songs.
Oh no, my gosh, dude. Okay, I was a spectator for the last stream, and I was just like burning inside. I was driving, and I also am a massive Neil Gaiman fan, and he is the author of Swamp Thing. Like in the late 70s, early 80s, the line that was used for the movies that y'all were discussing last cast, and he's also the author of The Sandman. And it is just brilliant work. It's brilliant. It's so excellent. You guys should definitely check it out.
What service is it on?
It's on Netflix. The show is produced by Netflix. I think it's a DC thing. I'm pretty sure Swamp Thing was DC also. But yeah, Neil Gaiman and Alan Moore are like soul brothers. They're the two like occultists, like dudes that were putting like proper content into comics at that time. I was also like, I have to say I was medium offended. I wasn't highly offended. I wasn't like slightly offended, but I was medium offended by the hatred towards the MCU because it's a bit of a passion project for me. I'm into it. I'm into She-Hulk, Attorney at Law.
But that's the thing, man.
Are you saying that you object?
I gotta be honest. I'm not the biggest Neil Gaiman fan, but like I'm certainly not offended that you are. You know.
Well, it's I mean I wouldn't be here on this stream at the moment if I didn't. if I was just done with those statements. I'm perfectly not okay with comics, and I can elevate my conversation beyond it. I definitely appreciate your appreciation for film because Return of Swamp Thing is most definitely excellent. It is on par with Evil Dead 2.
Okay. I'm sorry, it's on par with what?
Evil Dead 2?
Oh, dude, yeah, hell yeah. Okay. Question. Okay, as a fellow Swamp Thing lover, yes. Okay, so what the first Swamp Thing, Cravens, right? Like, how do you compare the two? Do you agree with my assessment that Swamp Thing 2, or rather, the Return of Swamp Thing?
Absolutely. And I'm a member of the sequel appreciation like guild because there's like a level of it that like okay like I'll give you the prime example of how I divert from the general assessment of film. Jaws 2 was better than Jaws 1 to me.
Wow, interesting. That's an interesting view. That's fascinating.
I've loved sequels. I was a 4-year-old child, man. Home Alone 2 trumped it. Fucking Terminator 2 trumped it. You know,
Oh, agreed on Terminator 2, hands down. Don't even have to think about that one. Yes. Yeah, for sure. What about Child's Play? Do you agree that Child's Play 2, as good as Child's Play 1 is, that Child's Play 2 is better?
Now, this has been, I'm a little rusty. Is that the one where Andy assassinates him with the help of his babysitter in the toy factory?
Yeah. Well, yeah, the second one, it all kind of culminates in the toy factory, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I fucking loved that one.
Yeah, it's
That
got
one.
all the iconic scenes, man, or a lot of them at least, in my opinion, of the franchise. Yeah, for
You
sure.
guys,
Fucking A, we're on the same
you guys
page.
are making me so sad. You're making me feel like there's an alternate dimension where there was like Independence Day 2. I have no idea what the name of that sequel would be, but that sequel would be a million times better than the original movie.
No,
Like
they made
I
it and it sucked. They made
oh,
it.
really?
Will Smith didn't sign on to it and it sucked.
Okay.
On the topic of Will Smith, was Men in Black 2, is that one considered better than Men in Black 1? I honestly don't like any
So
Men in Black movie more than another Men in Black movie. I actually really like all of them.
The
But
Men in
yeah,
Black franchise is a red
and
herring to distract us from the actual Men in Black.
no, hang on. Men in Black 2 and Men in Black 3 are red herrings to distract us from the true golden comedy, Men in White. Men in White was a Men in Black parody that
That's
released
fair.
around, I believe, around the time when Men in Black 2 came out. I don't
Yes,
remember the
Hocus.
actors' names if someone wants to pull that up real quick, but yeah, that
No, it's about two guys who are garbage men who then have to fight aliens, right?
I
who
believe
would
so. That sounds right.
Let's
who
be
would
fair.
uniform?
There's also men in fuchsia. Let's not forget them.
On the road
Violet
to
accents.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful.
So is this
Okay.
the infamous PokeMMO that I've heard so much about?
Yes,
Oh yeah.
we're traveling through the regions. We started in Kanto, and decided after discovering about the global war that happened using Pokemon and the Unipol global police force that they have, that the global Pokemon government was not exactly what we had been told it was. And we determined that we should join Team Rocket. Tried to drop off a resume. Turns out they don't take interns. But
Yeah, they were dicks about it. They were dicks about it,
They
straight
really
up.
were not nice, yeah.
it's fine. Team
And
Rocket
then
is
and
just
one of them
controlled
turned around and
opposition.
started screaming at me that I was a traitor. It was just like, what?
Yeah, and I'm just so happy for you, Hocus, that you got to join Team Rocket. I just, maybe they must have lost my application in the shuffle.
You know, we've been trying not to talk about it too much because it really does between you and me, Jeff. It really does kind of bother Jasper a bit. But yeah, they
Fine.
Okay, so
they
just to
cut
clarify,
it
I'm a little bit drunk. The Team Rocket is actually the ITO, right?
I mean, I think we view Team Rocket more as like the anarchists with a heart, if anything.
In this
Okay.
region, Team Plasma is basically like gun control, and there's no subtlety to it whatsoever. Like they no. We covered this last episode when they have their big speech that like, oh, everyone thinks that everyone's happy with Pokemon and Pokemon fights and Pokemon training, and we think the Pokemon like it, but oh no, those Pokemon just have internalized training. And the entire Pokemon system is very oppressive, you see, and it must be completely broken down. And that begins with people who are trainers giving up their Pokemon and realizing how bad they are. And of course, the plan is that after they do that, then they'll be the only ones who have the Pokemon, and they'll just use their powers to control everyone. Again, there's
I,
no subtlety to it. Like
I'll
it's yeah.
I'll not I'll not complicate my mind with the ethics of forcing animals to fight on your behalf because I'm practically a druid. I have
I
three
mean, look at
dogs and
that
two
guy. Look
cats
at
at
that
home.
guy. He seems happy. His tail's wagging. That's an excited dog.
I ask you this. I've met some of these dogs. You really think one of these dogs would go fight for you? I really think you would fight for the dog more than the dog would fight for you.
No, well, I'm fighting too. That's the difference between Pokemon because it's not just an animal fight between people who store beings in balls. I'm throwing punches too in this, and then the
Yeah.
dog
Yeah.
inspired.
In the Pokemon
Let's
world,
not
they call you a cheater, but I think that's
let's,
okay.
let's not gloss over. Let's not gloss over the fact that it's Kaiwai style dog fighting. Really, I
Oh
mean, it's
yeah.
QT. It's QT dog fighting. That's
Oh yeah. There's actually a whole underground market where you can buy them in MMO. It works just like dog fights.
It is one of
Yeah.
my favorite things about MMO. In the standardized Pokemon games, I don't remember what year they did it, but they made an active decision, and in all the remakes, they got rid of the game corner. No more gambling. They got rid of it. PokeMMO is like every single one has a game corner. Like, it doesn't matter where you go, every region's gonna have gambling.
That'll show the lottery in Vegas and Jersey City.
Yeah, yeah. The censors be damned.
They could really learn something from Giovanni and his casino. Having
He
a
ran
10-year-old
things right.
show up and having 10-year-olds show up and kick the door down.
When they eventually make the Netflix adaptation, I really hope that they get somebody who's like just the best Marlon Brando impersonator to be Giovanni. It's he looks so much like the fucking Don, you know?
Oh, you mean for the live action?
Yeah, yeah.
I forgot that was happening. I forgot that, like, I recently
Oh,
pulled up
I
an
didn't even
article that
know
was like,
that would happen. That's
One Piece. One Piece is getting a live action. There's a bunch of stuff that's getting a live action. There's a new Full Metal Alchemist movie coming out live action.
Oh
There was a bunch of stuff
God.
that's like, I don't think that's a good idea. Yu Hakusho, that's one. I'm actually stoked for that one. If they focus on the detective aspect of Yu Hakusho, it's gonna be really good. If they focus on the shooting spirit finger gun, that's not gonna be great. It'll turn out like that Dragon Ball Z movie.
well, I was really into the Cowboy Bebop adaptation. I thought they made some mistakes, but I was fine to take the ride as far as it went. Have a good night, you guys.
It's amazing to me how much people are willing to accept what's it called? Not freedom of choice. Whenever the producer or whatever takes artistic liberties with something, people are willing to accept like changes from the like written canon story so much and all of this MCU and DCU and all of this stuff like that, all these cartoons, but not so much when it came to Cowboy Bebop. Everybody was like so
I mean,
ready to chop heads
it
off
was an
because of like
incredibly succinct story. It didn't really need any adjustment. And I agree with the common consensus that Julia and his storylines were highly perverted. Just destroyed, honestly. It was all the mystery was taken out of it. But the casting, the like John Cho as Spike, my fuck, he did an excellent job. It was superb. It was sublime, man. That was what I wanted from that series.
if only we could re-roll the dice, get it right.
If only.
If
I don't know.
only.
My attitude is they should just stop making reboots altogether and just start making something original again.
I like
God
that.
Like
I like that.
forbid.
it wouldn't
I
take that
until
much effort.
recently, I used to say that all the time, and I just recently changed my
I like
mind.
like
It wouldn't take
Until recently, I used to say that all the time, and I just recently the biggest reason I changed my mind was somebody was like, "What do you mean? People are making new shit all the time, and it sucks." And I was like, "Holy crap, it's true! It's completely true." There's like most people are just repeating shit. Most of the successful people are just repeating shit, but there's a lot of people coming up with original content, and it's just really bad. It's just so bad that you never hear about it. But if you look, it's there.
That is true. Some could argue that about us.
It's I do subscribe to the idea that there's like only what is it, like 7 stories, 7 original stories, and everything else is just a remix.
Well, I feel like in
That's
that case, if that's true, then that's all the more reason that we can stop the reboots, because like instead of like, would you rather watch a reboot of Scooby-Doo, or would it really just
a new
take,
version.
yeah,
Yes,
just
I
pick
would
a new set of
I would
kids?
I would much appreciate that. And actually that's what Stranger Things is in a lot of ways. That's like sort of like that in essence, you know.
God, yeah. I don't know. Like Stranger Things, the first season had me, pretty much hooked. I was down for it. But then the next seasons came, and I don't feel like they're ever going to actually follow through in any way with what they're doing. It's just kind of stringing us along. It's like so much media today. It's got this broad range, but it's ultimately not that deep. I don't know. I stopped watching after the third season.
Did you watch? You didn't watch season 4?
Yeah, I don't know. I honestly got kind of weirded out when they had that whole cougar scene with the
Yeah,
young lifeguard boy, because I was just like,
that
God,
was.
all these women today are probably just consuming media. Like, how many of these creepy women in these offices are just eyeing their delivery boys and just saying, "Oh, that's the last piece of meat."
Let
Fucking
me.
dust flying out of their cooch like a hose in a cartoon in a drought, just like. This channel appreciates and supports women.
Pornography in 2055, narrated by Jasper Wubbs.
He strode into the office, his tight dickies creased upon his legs. Edith removed her favorite statue of her precious moments cat, her photograph of her cats, Mr. Princess, Tiggles, Bandicoot, Hopscotch,
Holy balls.
and the rest after she gave up naming them. Maybe it was the way that he set the pizzas on the counter. Maybe it was the way that the Toxoplasmosa gondii had completely riddled her brain with parasites. But in any way, she had to have him, and she had to have him then and there.
Woo. Spicy.
Toxoplasmosis has actually been linked now to higher IQ.
Spicy
That's a
plasmosis?
beneficial. That's a beneficial entity. I'm officially classifying it as a venom style symbiote that enhances.
Nah, I love my cat. He is a sweet little buddy, but when he inevitably goes, I am going to do a complete detox of Toxoplasmosa and
Oh my gosh, you
cleanse
sound like my
myself.
girlfriend. That's awful. You need more animals in your life, dude. You need more nature. You need to breathe it in,
Oh,
breathe
I'm
in
all for nature. I
the
love
ammonia.
cats. I just don't know if I'm going to keep a box of its shit in my house anymore.
Okay, I see what you're saying, but like you're gonna be like, here, look, I'm gonna go buy you some cat in the hat outfits so you can dress up as a cat and fill that empty void in your heart by enacting what's missing in your life. When you go to the local cafe, people be like, walk up to you and be like, "Oh my god, You lost your kitten? No. Let me pay for your lunch. Tell me all about it. Tell me all about it. What riddles your heart?
I'm trying to think of what someone would actually say in a mental health intake. Like the usual bit used to be they would lay down on the couch and say, "I think it all began when I was 3. I was a young, fragile boy when my father took me to the zoo. He chastised me for throwing peanuts at the elephants. But I said, 'Father, father, they want them ever so, and look at them munching upon them.' And he told me, and he struck me. He struck me then and there. And I swore that I would find a way to make my children gay to get back at him."
I so
Wow.
loved his cane. His cane felt so sweet upon my cheek.
Ever so did he rap it against me, once, twice, 3 times, until I had learned my lesson. But I swore then and there that I would return that night and free the elephants. With a heart full of courage and a bag full of nuts, I leapt over the fence. Never more would these sweet creatures feel the pain and suffering that they had been foisted upon them. Take
I
that,
like it.
father. All the elephants are running around the streets. Do you see that, father?
Tony Hawk Pro Skater 14, the British boy from Cambridge edition.
This makes my heart happy, you guys. It's been a long time since I've had a good bit of discourse with people that can think and talk and have a good bit of vocabulary.
I can do some of those things at the same time, not necessarily all. I don't want to oversell myself, you know.
With my new smartphone, I just asked Google what to say that'll be funny on the stream.
Hey, that's coming.
That's fine.
The new
The AI
API.
is here. If we could just get the UBI, then I would be like 100% on this train. My
Well,
fuck.
see, UBI is interesting, but if we're doing UBI, the problem then becomes whether or not our economy is a closed system. Because if we do UBI and our economy isn't a closed system, then in many ways we're just bleeding that money out into other countries. Like, we get most of
No,
our stuff from China,
no.
so
It would be a global front. It would be a global front. It would be like the major players first that do this. That's the only way that it would work, and it would work, I think.
but
But
who would they get the money from in the poorer countries?
that's really not necessary. They get it from the rich assholes, from Elon Musk, from
Hang
fucking
on
Jeff Bezos, like from
one
Bill
second.
Gates, like all of the assholes that are playing the political system as it is have got to give up their extra yacht money in order for us to fucking eat and have roofs over our heads. It's so stupid. I
Okay, hang
fucking
on, hang
hate
on.
all of the
I think
shit that they glorify uh, Elon Musk over when he won't just fucking pay his taxes. Yeah, like I literally read an article like 6 months ago where he was like, "Oh, I'm like couch hopping." I was like, "No, you're fucking not. You're not. You're absolutely not couch hopping, Elon Musk.
Wait, what's cow
Stupid ass.
topping?
There is zero way that you have any relatable content to my life. You know, like that's
yeah,
just
yeah, yeah,
not the way
yeah.
that it works.
Being a billionaire, if I was a billionaire and I showed up at your house, Jeff, and I bought you a brand new fucking couch and I slept in it, that's not the same thing as my broke ass who can't afford his medication showing up and being like, "Can I please sleep on your couch tonight?" It's not the
Absolutely,
same
dude.
thing. That's not the same thing. But hang on. I think your argument about the paying taxes holds a lot more validity than people give it credit, because in this case, the ability to to use power, to exercise power, not excise, to exercise power, comes from money. And so if you have the money, you have the power. And so the change comes from wherever the power is. So yes, these guys with the money need to make the change. Is it going to cost money? That's what power is in our current world, money. So yeah, it, that's the only way it's going to happen. The people with the power have to swallow it and use the power. In this case, right now, like I said, we live in a world where the power is money. So Elon
Power
Musk
of the
is
voodoo,
someone with
hoodoo, you
power,
do.
like, right? But I don't know.
Well, Hocus, I mean, you
I
touch on a really vital point, which is, whether or not a society is a democracy, a monarchy, whatever you decide your society is going to be, it's inevitably going to be some kind of oligarchy. There's going to be some kind of elite that essentially exist, and they're going to be the ones who do it. Even throughout history, the left, any type of movement that, we look at FDR and the New Deal or something, that was still, at the end of the day, elites making the decision to do what they did and throwing their weight around.
Mhm.
So, I mean, you are right, Hocus. There is no, grassroots can do some things, but we can't ignore the role that elites play in things. And today, I mean, I'm just not so sure. I think that the deification of Elon Musk is a bit silly. I think what he was doing with Twitter was, I don't know if it was 10-dimensional chess or if he just decided to do something and then found himself in over his head. Regardless, Twitter just needs to have a good old fashioned communist witch hunt inside of it, and we can fix all the problems there. But
I mean,
huh?
I think they should let everybody in, dude. I thought it was stupid when they were like letting the fascists get blocked and everything. I thought it was retarded because it's the idea of an open marketplace is let all the ideas be sounded.
Well,
If
that's
people
true.
are
Yeah.
fucking stupid, then people are stupid, and people are stupid, and they are going to be led by whichever fucking group catches their fancy.
Oh, yeah.
And
And
but
that was the
but
one thing that was
Elon
most
Musk.
interesting about Twitter, especially with their censorship policies, is they don't really censor the stupid shit. Like they'll let you say all manner of things about nanobots or aliens, or they'll let you say all
Oh
the N
sure.
words you ever want. But the people who are getting blocked are the ones saying the things that always end up being true. And the problem is that, again, like, it's not, we aren't allowed to have that marketplace because any organization like Twitter would inevitably have some kind of administrative core behind it that would have all the power. And so the problem is that the people at Twitter
Yeah.
need to be replaced. Like, the entire thing just needs to be, essentially, it needs a great reset.
Why are companies using Facebook and Twitter to verify your identity and your like what kind of person you are for like shouldn't your I mean ignoring the fact right now for the argument that there's problems with the education system, but like shouldn't your education, your diploma be the qualification? Your certification should be the qualification for you to show that you're qualified to get a job, right? But
Yes,
instead,
in
like
a sane
people
world,
are going
credentials
on
mean
Twitter and
something.
being like, "Oh, he's friends with this person who's friends with the mayor. Maybe I can make a political play through this network right here." Like that's the way people seem to do stuff instead.
That's true. Yeah, we are. It's I believe the famous phrase people like to use now is Kali Yuga, but we're essentially in a downward turn where people don't really care about that. They do just sort of want to get theirs and get gone, essentially.
That's a Hunger Games thing, is it not?
What?
Kali Yuga?
Oh no, the Kali Yuga is Hindu.
Okay.
Yeah, it
Kali
deals
Ma.
with the eternal cycle of death and rebirth, particularly at the macro scale with societies. Good times, bad
Hindu,
times,
Hunger
golden ages,
Games,
dark ages, that sort of thing.
both of them start with an H. That's what I'm gonna call from now on. I'm not gonna call Hindi people Hindi. I'm gonna call them hungry. They're from the Hunger Games.
God, that book was just so
The Hunger
bad.
Games, the reboot to the Hindi religion, because
Yeah,
nobody wanted to make a new religion, so they, yeah.
I know nothing about it, man. I've I like just its relevance to pop culture. Am I privy to?
Oh yeah, I mean it's and also just there's so much stuff like you said going around where nobody like I talk to most people I know, and they think they don't know like which conspiracy is you know, birds aren't real or um yeah, I've yet to meet a single person who believes that birds aren't real and doesn't say it as like, you know, some sort of feigned ignorance to try and like play up like they're just as crazy as the person talking to them thinks they are. Because that is fun.
Yeah.
That is a lot of fun. Just watching people
Oh
get so
shit. Yeah.
frustrated when they honestly think that I think birds aren't real or I think that Biden is a robot, and they're just so furious because they don't know any better and they think I honestly do believe that, and they're just so angry because they're just like meh, meh. I love it. It's great.
That's a
Dude,
really
that's
good
okay.
noise.
I've adopted this thing. So I've been diving deep into the occult and uh like really searching for which like deity it is that I want to align myself with and serve and dedicate myself to. And in this introspection, I've discovered that there's a so as cringy as it may seem, there like what happens is I get really drunk and then I'm the Joker, and it's not that I am the Joker, it's that I'm channeling some trickster god, and the trickster god is really fucking funny. You know?
Could I make a
And
suggestion?
very highly chaotic, and a lot of shit gets really fucked up in my life, and I piss off everybody that's close to me, but there's a shit ton of things that just tickle me to no end, and for that reason I quit drinking for a long time. But that trickster god hasn't left, you know. It just sort of was enjoying my suffering. You know?
That's how
Have
trickster
you
gods usually work. Yeah.
considered? Have you
And
considered a butt plug?
no, I haven't
That might be
considered
what you need to
squeezing
stop
through
this
my butt.
trickster from infiltrating your body.
No, you're an agent of this trickster gods. That's
No, he's an agent of our
I'm
marketing
pretty sure.
department. We're starting a new business where we have different gauges of
M-
Pokemon anal beads based on the ball grade.
MMO.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
right.
it
Yeah, I
seems like
forgot
what you
about
need
that.
is our new spell tag line, available now in regular, great, and ultra sizes.
Well, it's really important to note that these Pokemon anal beads, they're also scented like the Pokemon.
Yeah,
oh
that's why they
oh
reduce your
my.
It's
encounter rate,
really,
because no one's gonna want to go near you when you have one of those dangling out of your hole.
yeah, they feel like whatever Pokemon it is that's infusing you anally.
These anal beads are a mark of alignment, so this trickster god will recognize that you've already made a pact.
Can you
He'll be able
imagine
to
selling?
smell it.
Can you imagine selling this idea to a room full of like corporate like executives? Like,
Have you heard of that show Shark Tank? I think we should go on it. Every single week, we should be on Shark Tank
No,
with
that's
a
the
new
problem with
idea.
Shark Tank is that they wouldn't say, "Oh my God, you're mad, you're madmen, you're idiots, you're crazy, get out of here. What are you doing? Like this is vile and obscene." They would just sit there and kind of nod and go, there's a market for it, but can we afford the licensing?"
you'd sell them on it if you started the whole thing by having them stand and then putting like the like a different scented bead anal set of anal beads in each chair. You're telling them like, okay, now sit down and experience your Pokemon. They'd have to be using them like throughout the presentation.
we
Because
would have to
they
call
always
that company Pokemon Experiences. Experience
that
your
is-
Pokemon.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, I bet they even like end up passing laws where it's like a Pokemon can't use the same Pokemon scented anal bead because that's like some form of incest. Pikachu's can't wear Pikachu's.
That's why we have to make them do it, Hocus, to make them break down their unconscious bias against incest.
But making people do stuff is the global Pokemon government way.
Really quick so that I know how to address everybody. Can everybody say their moniker here? One at a time.
Sure. I am Master of Ceremonies MC Maury McMaury. You can call me any version of that.
Fucking right on.
Moridon, I love that nickname. That's awesome.
It's cool,
Here
man.
comes the Moridon.
Okay, that was basically the one that I was confused on.
That was
So we get
Hocus.
Jasper and Hocus
And-
otherwise.
And I
Right.
am Bernie Sanders, and now if you'll please put your hands together for the Pumpatronics Corporation's Marsupial Jam Band.
Jeff, yeah. Don't let him,
Bang,
Jeff,
ding,
don't
ding,
let
ding,
him
bang,
fool
ding, ding,
you.
ding, 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 bang, ding, ding.
Don't let him fool you. That's not Bernie Sanders. Promise. I
All
know
right,
it
I'm
sounds
sorry.
like
The top 1% of the audience is doing 95% of the clapping. Wait, is this a what is this? Is that a mountain? Is that a poorly 3D rendered sprite image? I can't. Huh. This forest is just nothing but confusion. And oh god, I found Carmen Sandiego, guys. It's Carmen Sandiego. She's found me. What do I do?
where in the world?
Look her up and down and tell her no.
Yet another.
Identify her.
Identify.
Where in the world? Use odor sleuth. Find out what she smells. I'll put her in my next anal bead Pokemon line.
Okay, I feel like we're starting to overstep our bounds here. in
They'll know
terms of-
exactly where in the world she is from now on.
I feel like we're getting into different types of products here. This is a whole different market.
She was Lady Gaga all the time. I knew it.
No. Not just Lady Gaga. She was specifically Lady Gaga in the meat suit.
Yes. If Lady Gaga was a Pokemon, would she evolve based on happiness or sadness?
No, juxtaposition only. You can't have one or the other. It needs to be both. You
Oh.
need to have a boner that makes you cry.
Okay, yeah. So if she's sad at night, she'll be all Mary the Night cancer, Mary the Night cancer patient, Lady Gaga. If she's happy at night, she's going to be Edge of Glory, Lady Gaga. But if she's happy at night, she goes all meat dressed and is just throwing cow blood and period blood all over the stage and making weird Masonic gestures. And if she's happy at the daytime, that's actually when she gets all somber and sings like, a cappella or just her and a piano at a bar, reminding everyone she went to Juilliard or whatever.
Hey, she's proper, man. She's a proper rebel. There was a Facebook group that was like dedicated to ensuring that she never became famous, and they were failures. And I think that should make them famous in my estimation.
See, why would you waste your time trying to stop Lady Gaga when you could be stopping She-Hulk, attorney at law?
Oh no.
I'm super excited about this. I know it's not going to go the way I'm hoping, but I'm hoping because I'm sure, Jasper, you don't know this, but Daredevil is from the same universe, and Daredevil is
Yes.
a phenomenal blind attorney, and there is supposed to be a crossover going on here.
lawyers in the MCU.
I'm dope. I'm so excited to see like a intense law instead of like action with fighting and stuff. I hope they actually do law and they follow like
Oh no,
well.
that's absolutely what's gonna happen, man.
Oh,
Because
for
it's
real?
yes, yeah, that is
Oh, I'm excited. I'm excited. I hope someone with a law
dying inside.
background watches this show and gives us some analysis on it.
Oh, it's
Uh,
that's sure. That's absolutely gonna happen. Jasper's dying inside now.
no, I'm just imagining about how the inevitable trend of the cape genre with all of these films is that we're just going to eventually go full circle, where we're going to go from these cape genre adventure movies that are just fun action flicks, for kids or the young at heart. Nothing against that, nothing against them. It's just the oversaturation that I really take umbrage with. But this new She-Hulk attorney at law stuff is now they're going to find a way to get us back into dramas and miniseries and it's we're what I'm getting at is I guess is that we're just about 3 to 5 years away from In Cold Blood starring the Marvel Universe Avengers.
Uh, I mean, we're already at a place where it's a monopoly, and so the controllers of the monopoly, we just get what they give us, and they've decided that they're going to give us 6-part miniseries instead of movies or longer series. Uh,
Oh, I'm
we
fine
don't
with
have a
that.
choice about it.
The format,
We
I mean, the format, like again, we wouldn't mind if it was good. Wait, what? Huh. Never mind. Notifications about MMO things.
Yeah, I'm getting those too. Somebody did something in this. Oh, there was an event today. I forgot. Somebody must have won the
In-
event.
Interesting. Now I've encountered Carmen San Diego, but in the sequel when they make him a trans man.
That's what I'm waiting for. How's it going? I love your piercings.
Thank you. People are always like, do they hurt? And I'm like, no.
Yeah.
Oh my God, Jasper, I don't want to do this fucking puzzle in this library. How do I give up on life?
I
Can
don't
I
know.
just like,
I think that if you just read random books, you'll eventually. I don't remember. I honestly don't remember what the answer was. You just have to go to bookshelves, and then you climb up on the ladders, and you fight people, and then you go talk to people about what you think the answer is. It's some kind of in-game trivia about the. I know it's something about that rabid chipmunk is in there.
this blows?
Welcome to Unova.
Oh my God. I like when people say shit like this is more confusing than using a condom. And I'm like, how is that confusing?
Well, using a
Oh
condom
my
isn't
God.
confusing. Using a condom is depressing. Like, put a condom on your dick and tell me it doesn't get sad. Would you like to just wear a poncho 24/7? No, you wouldn't.
Would you like to have a kid that you have to feed and walk and put in the sunlight and rub fucking cream on its face? I don't know what you do with babies.
Well, no, but this is why I'm selective about the holes I put my.
Hold them by their ankle and then use a hose to wash them.
Well,
They're fine. They like being upside down, right?
I'm just imagining a whole row of babies on a clothesline getting their dirty asses hosed down with a spray mister or something. Like some
That
sort of
sounds like a job
industrial
that
child
I would
rearing.
have. That sounds like a job I would have.
You know what? You can have that one. I don't want to. I don't even want to
I
know that's
don't
going
want
on
it.
in our city. Then why did you volunteer for it?
I said it sounds like something I would have. Like most of my jobs are really crappy like that. People are like, "Oh, that's an act of love. He's saving the future." I'm like, "Kill me now. Why am I here? Who's making me do this?"
I know this was like a week or two ago, but didn't they start hiring people to shovel the shit off the streets in LA? It's about time they started creating some jobs.
Excellent. Oh my god, I hope they did. I'll go be a shit shoveler.
I bet that's a good job. LA people tip well. I bet they tip the shit shovelers decently.
Fuck yeah, you probably get some $15 rocks as a tip or something, you know? Keep your fucking candle going.
I can imagine somebody's like, "Hey, Ricardo," and then they like drop trout and they shit in the dump truck, and they're like, "That one's for you." They like skip away. That was the tip. Instead of shitting on the street, they took a shit in the dump truck, so Ricardo didn't have to scoop it up and throw it up there.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah, that makes sense.
I'm sorry, guys. I was distracted. The work doers stole a dragon skull, apparently, but it's fine because Aunt Jemima, Bob Ross, and this really weird gay dude with a scarf showed up, so we're all good now.
Thank God for that.
I don't understand, but I'll accept it.
Yeah.
Do we have to? At this point, I don't even know what we're accepting.
Coffee? Nah, that beats me.
Oh, God. Unova is just such a... It's okay, though. Eventually going to get to the weird New York City, New Orleans hybrid. Well, I guess it's also got some LA to it, but there won't be any shit in the streets. You know, it's funny we're talking about the shitting, just shit in the streets, because I remember when I first got out of school and couldn't find work, and I knew so many other people who were having trouble with it, and I thought, you know, again, just to talk about UBI or something, how many people just honestly don't even really want the free money. They want to do something for the money. So, like, okay, let's just start paying people to go fill in potholes or plant trees
Dude,
or pick up garbage.
this is exactly the mediary level of this, because you give everybody, you start out with a low amount, something that's not going to pay all the bills, like $1,000 a month, like the Andrew Yang model, right? That does not pay all the bills, but it covers a shitload of them, and it'll make life easier for a shitload of people.
I
And
mean,
then as you introduce the all of the shit, I'm sorry, as you introduce all of the robots that are taking care of all the work that people are doing at McDonald's and all the stores and everything else, as you like introduce this RFID like technology where it's like, yeah, your card that you carry in your pocket tracks everything that you're bringing with you and then charges you for it, which is really fucking simple, and the technology is here today, you know, that's going to cover more than the paychecks that people were receiving from these jobs where they were afraid to give them 40 hours a week even, you know.
and
And
they're not going to. They're not. They're going to find some way around that, the same way they got around the 40-hour work week. I mean, if I
well, sure, I mean,
the
I don't think that 40-hour work week is justice in itself. I think that's fucked, man. It's too much time spent on like being cogs in the wheel. Like, dude, like I work 80 hours a week to pay my bills, and I literally can't even pay my bills right now doing that. Being a DoorDasher, it's very unfair shit.
oh
There
yeah.
is no like, there's no
It's not
justice
designed.
for us.
It's not designed on justice or fairness or whatever. The system is designed top down, and it will always be designed top down because the intellectuals go to the top and design it. You don't have an intellectual at the bottom designing it. I mean, ideally you could, like you could literally have somebody do that. There'd be the whole like what the Christians would label like a Jesus Christ figure and go to the poor people and redesign it from the bottom up. But that's not going to happen because the money's at the top. Uh, so like I don't know. I don't know how you get it. You'd get it so that there could be like justice and stuff for the people in the bottom. Like it's just not relevant to the people up there.
I also think that once you start
Well,
addressing the issue of redistribution, we also run into a whole lot of justice concerns that I just don't think it goes. I don't think that the issue of justice is going to be perfect redistribution because the main problem, my problem with poverty isn't that there are poor people. My problem with poverty is that there are people either trapped in it who shouldn't be poor or something else. But if someone's not going to work, if someone doesn't want to have that follow through, I'm not going to have any of my income cut out to help that person because they're just a freeloader. But if someone actually does want to,
no, dude,
work,
you're
then
thinking
yeah.
about it wrongly. I gotta say, I disagree absolutely.
With
It's
what part?
yeah, that there are no freeloaders. We are all consumers, and we all absolutely support these corporations that feed off of us like living vampires.
Well, then in
It
that
is
Including
case,
the
wouldn't they be the
psychotic
freeloaders?
how
including
much
the
money
employees.
is just taken from an entity that is considered an actual entity as far as tax purposes go. So it gets the rights of a person in order to milk us and capitalize and exploit. Like you know about food deserts and everything, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So where's the justice there, dude? Suppose you're a person who was raised by a minimum wage worker, and the like a single mother and the father is unknown, and now like you're a member of the public school system in a bad neighborhood because it's the only place that the mom could afford, and your prospects are incredibly limited because you're met with violence at every turn. Uh, in an academic sense, in a in a socioeconomic sense,
I
people
suppose, but the I guess the
people
main
take
issue
one
is
look
that
at somebody who's supposedly like expressing low class values
mhm.
and they say fuck off, get out of here. They do not say, hey, you look like you need something to do. You know, that's the argument of the free market. There's jobs where there's jobs that are created by the corporations that need to be worked. No, it's a fucking lie. That's the illusion. That's the same Sarah. That is the exact same Sarah. They are
They are
pocketing
turning
every
people away. Yeah,
yes.
they're turning people away. They're not. It's
Well,
not
well,
that
they're
there aren't
trying to
Exactly.
people
work
qualified.
ever since
That's
the
the
depression.
problem. The people
Ever
who
since
have
the depression. And it's you can't ask people to work for peanuts. No. You ask people to work for filet mignon, guess what? You got badass workers. But nobody does that, do they?
well, yeah, but if I'm giving them
I
You're
filet,
would.
if I'm paying
$20 an
filet
hour running
mignon
European
prices for my
skirt.
labor, then I want filet
Go ahead.
mignon quality labor.
Huh?
That
Dental.
is true. That is true. I would. I don't want to like give
Ooh,
someone
right
who's
on.
doing nothing. I don't want to give someone who's doing nothing more
just
pay
in
than they
case, just in
deserve.
case anybody's struggling, the lady at the front desk at the Holiday Inn said, "Dental office front desk. That's where you find $20 an hour." Shit, I might apply myself.
As long as it doesn't require billing and coding, then that's fucking amazing. I mean,
Right on. That's amazing.
even if it required billing and coding, like at $20, that's pretty good. Most people only get around $14 an hour after going to school for billing and coding. I want to say like either a 3 or a 9-month class.
Dude, it's trash. It's trash. The real occult, as far as economics goes, is knowing your worth. Nobody will ever teach you to know your fucking worth. But if you really apply at places and take a job somewhere where you're making $10 an hour and you tell them like, hey, like I'll work here, but I
Well,
can't afford it. I can't
I guess
afford to work here.
I guess we're gonna go motivational here. You put a step in the like your foot in the door there, but no one's actually. It's erroneous to say you are worth something because your worth is something that you can change. For example, I am worth nothing at all as an oboe player right now. But if I sit down and I practice the oboe and I commit myself to it, I can probably learn it in, I don't know, for me, maybe like 2 months actually. And then play it decently. And then I won't be a worthless oboe player because I'll actually know how to play it. And so, like, my value can change. It's not this like cemented thing. People like to look at it and be like, I lost, I'm worthless. And it's like, no, you lost, keep trying and become better at it, and you won't be what you are right now. Or give up, stop practicing, and become worse at it. And then, yeah, you're giving fruition to the negative that you just said. But people do have limitations. It's true. Like if you're born with one leg, then you're probably not going to be as good at like jumping over hurdles without some kind of assistance as someone who has two legs. Like it just sometimes there are limitations, but for the most part, like uh, we are supposed to be able to develop a skill by practicing it.
Well, yeah. I mean,
At least that's what I've
essentially
been
that's how you get
taught.
better at it. I think that's one of the big problems is that everyone, and I mean everyone, not just uh, everyone from the bottom all the way to the tippy top, has been degraded by a whole lot of different factors. But one of the big problems a lot of people are dealing with in the workforce right now, why they're turning so many people away, is well, A, I think that they're actively lying. And B, I think that we have to keep in mind that there is a very specific ideology, and I didn't know about it. I had kind of gotten hints about it, hearing from things, feedback I would get from different people in corporate settings about, how to get ahead or what's that missing piece to get a slice of that pie. And all of it just seemed to be a bunch of smoke screens, a bunch of bad advice. It seemed like I was in a situation where either everyone is a blithering dunce, or I'm being given a lot of contradictory information specifically designed to keep me running in circles. And I'm now very convinced that it's the latter. And they're trying to hide the actual problem, the real reason why most people are upset. Now, one of the biggest problems for me with UBI was a lot of people I knew who were into it was just like, oh, okay, so you just want to go work at Starbucks or something, and then we're going to supplement that. Maybe, but that's almost the wrong type of band-aid. We don't need people working at Starbucks getting more money for it. We need people actually building and contributing. I think the easiest analogy people usually find in that situation are manufacturing jobs, because that one's easy. It was in that time when we had wealth, not just at the top, but throughout the whole country. And it was a time when there was more social mobility. But even then, you're going to have some winners and some losers, and you're going to have people not necessarily want to give up their slice, essentially. Um,
Hey, Jasper, I gotta interrupt
mhm.
just for a minute. I fucking love what you're saying, but you've got to hear about what I just experienced, and I think we're gonna see an uptick in viewers in just a minute because uh, I dropped off this beer delivery that I was making at the hotel, and it's a beer delivery, so I got to take an ID and everything. And it was a Mexican consulate ID. And the last name, which is the thing that I have to input on my thing, was Homo Bono. And
Homo Bono. That has to be
I
the
made
gay
a joke.
assistant in She-Hulk Attorney at Law.
I was laughing. I was in tears laughing about it, and we had a good time at the doorway, And
Homo Bono.
these guys, they were hearing you guys talking, so I was like, I'm so sorry, you guys. I'm on a stream right now. I can't stop this. I could mute it from my side, but I can't stop it. And we laughed. We had a good time. They got their beer, and then they were like, "Hey, what's that stream called?" So we got one more viewer at least. Some
Oh,
fat
fantastic. If I
motherfuckers
had
from
more than one
Huntsville.
monitor, I would be able to see it.
Cheer.
Huntsville. If you're you guys, Homo Bono.
That's our boy right there, Homo Bono. That's our boy.
What is it? What is it?
Homo Bono is definitely going to be something I keep in my pocket, yes.
That's
I think he just earned himself a spot in like the title for this episode.
Yeah, do that. Homo Bono. How do you say long live, Swami? Shit. Hocus, how you say that?
Viva, just Viva. In Spanish, we don't say long live, we just say Viva, live. Just live. Viva.
Bono. Mi
Viva
amigos.
Homo Bono.
A toast. A toast to Homo Bono. Por favor.
No cruce en frente del autobús.
Por el amor de Homo Bono.
Oh, wow, it's night now? Interesting. Time moves a lot faster in the big city, I see. Oh, but yeah, no, with what we were saying about UBI, I don't know. It used to be I was of the opinion that the freeloader problem wasn't as big of an issue. Sure, there are freeloaders if you've ever been in any kind of group project. Some people are going to end up doing more of the actual labor to make it happen. That's just, I've seen it even in my own, current job. There are some people who work to get the job done, and there are other people who are like, well, hey, we're all getting a slice of this pie, so why should I?
Oh shit, yeah, dude. Yeah.
And
Why lift a finger when it's all being done and you're
yeah,
collecting a salary?
and my
That's
attitude used
absolutely
to
a
be,
factor of reality.
yeah. But I mean, if that's the case, if we're taking that as a factor of reality, then we also have to take into as a factor of reality the fact that some people are also working harder, and that maybe those people who are working harder would be of more value. Like if I was running some large company, the freeloaders are the first ones who are going to go. And I don't think that there would be any company that, oh God, this bat, it's just pressing its heart nose against me and just like it's a kiss or something. And it's got that one little tooth like a rubber hose 1930s cartoon. God, I just...
You like it, whatever.
it's becoming consensual. I can't deny that. But
It's the thing I look forward to every day.
I used to be more of the opinion that, like, hey, we're all in this together and it doesn't matter. But over the years, I've just like seeing the way that people are and the way that certain groups who have received major leg ups have decided to act like, not only are they winning, but it's their time, and that you who were actively shut out, and especially since we know that ESG, all of these different programs are literally everything that Ayn Rand type conservatives warn about with, the
Dude,
the
it's
the
it's really psychotic, and I fucking love Ayn Rand, and this is so conflicting for me because there's so many anarcho-capitalists that agree with Ayn Rand also, and I'm just like, yeah, I agree with her, but not the way that you do. No.
well, it's because they it all, I think a lot of it boils down to the money maker versus money appropriator category, but
Yes, but the one cannot make money without the consumer. That's the thing.
and the consumer
It's
can't
it is
consume
a
without the money maker.
it's a codependent relationship, and the for me, where I put the weight is with the consumer. The consumer is literally like the decider for these things. It's and this is why I like the radical left. This is the one place where I really like it, that it's like, oh, this motherfucker said this thing one time, this time don't like him anymore. See, I like that. And I wish that it was more of a diverse marketplace in which you could say all of these different things. Anybody can say all of these different things, and then people can sign on or say no to all of that. That part I think is really cool. The problem is we have massive multi-billion-dollar corporations above us while we're doing that.
Well,
So we're all still playing their game and still funneling money into them, you
it's
know?
not, I wouldn't say that it's just the corporations, because what we call this cancel culture identity politics was injected in, could arguably be said to have been injected into the left by these same corporate forces.
But dude,
Especially
people aren't
because
gonna
it,
fucking trip out as much. They're not gonna cancel as much if their grandma has her cancer meds like paid for. You know what I mean?
no, they're still
If
going to
you're
do it.
fucking
The people who I
like,
see arguing the most for canceling, the people who are, let's say, the work doers. They aren't the people who grew up in actual poverty or actual hard times. The people I met
yeah,
who are the biggest like pushers of this are all the people who, let's face it, are unhappy that
benefited
their
from
wealth and
a
status
wealthy
didn't.
family.
Yeah, and it's
Yes.
it's a way for them to hang on to power, even though all of the elites in our country are feckless, dysgenic, uh, stupid, completely unable to run anything of no value, no impulse control, no ability to.
No. Okay, I'll disagree right here. Everybody's of value.
Agree to
Everyone.
disagree.
Everyone is of value. Everyone is of value because they consume. This is where the capitalists have got them like right, because they are of monetary value because they will consume. They will consume, and there like a reason economically to keep these people viable. That's now the thing that people are afraid of. What's up? Oh, it is. Thank you. The thing where the thing where it makes sense is you can't have corporations running shit. They have to answer to checks and balances. If they don't, then we have what we have now, which is rampant anarcho capitalism. And I say that not because there are no rules, but because that the ones with the capitals make the rules, and it's fucking horse shit. There's no reason that I can't walk into a liquor store in Texas and buy a handle of liquor on Sunday, other than the restaurant lobby that has stopped the legalization of buying liquor on a Sunday.
Well, okay, so to try and, I guess, go back to the beginning with that one. As far as your concerns, part of the main issue is that we don't really live in an anarcho-capitalist system. You can't just go out and hire whomever you want. If you could do that, then a lot of the times I've networked with people, I would have just immediately walked in through the door. The problem is that even with the leader of some team in some corporate apparatus, or even with a small business, you're still going to have some kind of gatekeeper who believes in some kind of ideology or policy. And that current gatekeeping procedure involves making sure that there is a perfect quota, or at certain times, just outright discrimination against certain specific demographics. And you'll see a lot of it in weird ways, like they'll lump East Asians and Indians together and say, oh, okay, well, now we've got our Asian quota or something. Or they'll try to say that Latinos are white, and then they'll say Latinos are black, and then they'll do some kind of weird game. But at the end of the day, it's specifically about eliminating and removing a certain type of people, shall we say. And it goes beyond any kind of race or identity. More than anything, it's anyone who's going to question the party line. So if your real goal is to have meaningful leftist economic reform in any kind of real sense, as someone who spent a long time beating his head against a brick wall and has decided that the right was right about everything, you're not going to get guys like me to get into any kind of UBI or any redistributive anything, because the Ayn Rand story isn't just about, the horde or communism. It's also about the fact that there are certain parasitic elements and certain people who will impede or stand in the way,
Yeah.
or just even deeply resent
Yes.
people
You're
who are
absolutely
competent
right.
and capable.
You're absolutely right, dude. I'm not disagreeing with you
And
at
for the
all.
past, I
No,
think, 10 years, it's been nothing but the lesson of, yes, actually, there is, and the people who are the most bad about this are the work doers, the social justice types. They personify that resentment of mediocrity. But here's the big problem: you're not going to get guys like me into it, and you're not going to get any other guys on the right into it. So the only way you're ever going to get any kind of program, and I'm not necessarily against these programs. For example, I consider myself pro-natal. I'm not necessarily against giving people money to help them do the things that we all need people to do, especially right now in this circumstance where people are, let's say, severely fucked over and can't get their head above water to do it. But if you really want that to change, the first thing you're going to have to do is recognize that what we call woke or CRT or ESG, people on the far left like to blame corporate neoliberals about it when I bring it up, and people who are center left like to blame the far left whenever it gets brought up. And it's a funny phenomena I've seen where people will on the left immediately act like they're going to throw someone else under the bus to win me over. And it's always interesting, like black people will always throw trans people under the bus, as if I'm some sort of dragon.
oh my god.
It's like they think I'm a
This is
demon who demands a sacrifice, and it's like, no,
it is so goddamn nuanced, man. It's incredibly nuanced.
Let's see. The number of people who always want to throw white women under the bus immediately, like, again, it's one of those things where I'm like, yeah, sure, point out that other group of people, but my problem was with the whole thing. And
Jasper, don't be a Karen.
once that no, I am gonna Karen out right now. I demanded 14 cubes of ice in my hot coffee, and it's cold already, and they've melted. They got all melty and small. Make it again. But no, if you honestly want anything like that, the left is going to have to get its shit together and realize that the entire, what we call, woke, and I hate calling it that, because in the black community, woke actually means that you watch InfoWars and you know that what all the rappers are saying is true.
No, it doesn't.
It doesn't anymore, because now it's become, being woke against, being more far left. I'm sorry, I can't really control how language shifts over time. All I'm doing is providing a description, not really a prescription. But the point is that essentially you're going to have to deal with these corporate leftist types who want to keep a system whereby they have a large mass of black, brown, whomever bodies, because that's why they say bodies in their worldview, their biomass. You need to have a certain level of people kept in poverty to keep this alleged problem in place, so that all of these mediocre children living in the suburbs, checking off quotas and going to college, can still be justified because they can't actually earn it themselves. So they have to keep a bunch of lower income people, most of whom, if they were actually given a leg up, would far surpass those mediocre suburban kids, because they actually know what it's like to work and strive for something. Even if they do have, let's say not the talents, they'll actually work to make that gap be bridged.
Yes, that is
And until
definitely a
the work
factor, man. The
doers,
struggle
until
that's
this whole
experienced in the
ESG
hood.
thing is dismantled, there will never, ever, ever be a sane, functional left in this country again, because this religion, this ideology has completely taken it over, and they're not going to stop.
Oh no,
Most of them have already
no,
decided
no,
that they're going to pivot
dude.
and change their
There's
language.
there's a fever pitch. There's a fever pitch of like leftists. Yes, absolutely. There's psychotic people on the left. I'm not denying it, but this is absolutely not what's sought for. That's not what people are after, man.
It
People
really
are
seems like
after
what they
fucking
voted for.
healthcare, dude.
It really seems like
Basic
this is
human
what they
rights.
voted for.
The rest of the West has already accepted that single payer insurance is the only way to go, because corporate interests do not consider the lowest.
Okay, then why didn't they vote for the guy who wanted to give them health
I'm
care?
literally probably as far left as you can go.
Uh-huh.
And what I think would be a utopia is if no member of politics could gain any benefit that the lowest of us could not also gain. I'm talking about payment, I'm talking about benefits, all of this.
Oh,
Like,
no, I can't get
how
behind that.
can it president the president earns minimum wage? That's what I'm talking about, dude. The president earns fucking minimum wage, and everybody who decides things in the government, they all
Oh,
earn minimum wage, the
I
same as
misunderstood what you were
McDonald's
saying.
workers. If that happened, there would be no food stamps, man. That's Star Trek. That's fucking Star Trek, and that is as far
Mm,
left as you go.
There's a
mm,
humongous assumption, or at least maybe I'm the only one making the assumption. But let me try to get it out, and then y'all can correct and clarify me, set me straight here. But like this idea works in my head under the assumption that everybody works. Nobody's a lazy fuck. Nobody's trying to cheat the system because the system is the people around them. Nobody's trying to abuse. Everybody's trying to, make it work the best that they can.
when in
Everybody's going in with the
reality, everyone's
mentality
going
of
to abuse it.
if we all give a little extra, we'll all get a little extra in the big picture. Like the system would work like that, but when you introduce like the human factor, like you do to a lot of ideals, like socialism and stuff like that, it falls apart. It doesn't work with humans because humans, for some reason or other, haven't been able to
No,
not corrupt stuff.
that's not anything like what I'm talking about, because there are always going to be freeloaders. And right now, the freeloaders that I'm concerned with are not those that are working minimum wage jobs. Like, when I get frustrated at McDonald's because motherfuckers aren't like getting on task and shit, I'm like, oh yeah, they're making $7 an hour. The people who I'm mad at are the people who are making fucking billions while doing nothing and shortchanging the motherfuckers who are actually flipping burgers. Dude, it works in Norway. That whole argument of, oh, it's a like, what is it, like one color people, like that's why it works there. That's total horse shit. That is not why it works there. It works there because CEOs earn a percentage that is much reduced to those in the fucking West, man. That's why it works. And even where you have corporate entities running rampant, like in England, where their politics are very similar to our own, there is still a checks and balances system in which they do not fuck over the lowest of them. It's like I have a friend in England who is on Social Security or the equivalent. It's not called the same thing, but he is an autistic guy, and uh, he like was highly autistic. He's very highly autistic. He's like the thing is he doesn't have the same issues that like people who are nonverbal have. He's verbal, but growing up he went through fucking shit, and he is on disability now because he can't work. But he's a fucking excellent Street Fighter player. You know, and thank God that they have the social systems that they do have to support him.
I kind of wish you didn't say player. I kind of wish he was just like this, like street fucking brawler, and people like
He
looked
was
at him
that
and
too.
totally judged
He was
him
that
wrong,
too.
and then he just had a like.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm one of the main reasons, and I know saying it is going to seem like it's making the monocolor statement, but it's less about the monocolor makes it work statement and more about it's more about flow and systems. Uh, you're not going to find a whole lot of these Finlandized countries. We always fail to take into account the fact that these countries have very strict immigration policies rivaled to ours, and so it's not monocolor. It's the fact that the labor market is controlled. It's in the same way that you have rent control, you have a labor control. And without that in place, you're not going to be able to implement that kind of stuff. Because again, it's not just about consumer demand, it's also employer demand for the labor.
Sure, but there is zero shortage of employee demand,
Well, I
and
mean, that's kind of
the
the
fact of
problem.
this does not negate like how it works. What you're talking about does not negate how it works, because McDonald's has like the massive turnover rate that it has in the States because they do not provide people a livable wage.
Right,
The
because they
reason
can
why
just use the constant churning of people to just use them up, and then when they get burnt out, have them become replaced by
Yes,
somebody else.
they don't do that in Finland. They don't do that in Norway. This is absolutely not the way that it works. And the way that it works is they charge 30 cents more per Big Mac, and they pay their people $20 an hour plus benefits, and they give them the full-time hours. They don't fucking split it among a shitload of people and never give them the benefits.
Mm-hmm.
This is where we get fucked up, man. As soon as healthcare is sorted out, the economy is sorted out. And it's the same way with wages. It is literally like it is gross the way that CEOs make fucking 500 times the lowest employees' wages. That is horrendous. There's no reason for that. And then on top of that, their lowest employees are taxed at a higher percentage than the CEO is. It is fucked.
Oh,
These
well, that's the IRS
loopholes.
for you.
Well, this is why these loopholes. This is why I call it anarcho-capitalism, because we already have it here. You just have to have enough capital in order to buy your way into the club.
It's seemingly a narco-capitalist in experience, but in terms of its structure, it's quite the opposite.
Yes, you're right. You're right, and
It's
it's really not
utilizing.
anarcho-capitalism, but it's like for the purpose of my argument. That's why I'm saying that this is why I do not agree with anarcho-capitalists. I don't like crypto bros. I don't like Bitcoin people because they are literally talking about reinventing the same system that we have in this country, and it sucks already.
Well,
It
see,
fucking sucks.
I actually am one of those Bitcoin people working in the development of blockchain exchange systems right now, and I can tell you
Blockchain
that.
is excellent, but
Oh
I'm
yeah.
I'm talking about like the anarcho people.
Oh well,
I'm
see,
talking about the people who,
that's
huh?
the problem though, is that so we exist in a system that is, call it whatever we will, the regime, as it were, this large bureaucratic, unelected, unaccountable entity, things like the IRS that take the income tax and screw over, not only the guys at the bottom, but even the people who are in the 70K to 100K, and then they get you again. It's not until you break free of a certain threshold, I believe it's somewhere like 250K, but it's been a while since I checked, when you start reaching out, okay, no matter how high you are, it's going to be this, set percentage amount. The Of course, the solution there is just to get rid of the income tax altogether and bring back tariffs. Uh, Again, that's because, again, like you just pointed out, these business owners are smart. They can do things like charge 30 cents more for a burger and find ways to pay their employees the money. It's about
Yes.
controlling the system. And one of those ways to control a system, if you can't control it, or if you don't want to build anything that would be used to harm people later, then the solution clearly becomes something involving blockchain. Because again, it decentralizes, it makes it to where these large entities no longer can do anything at all. There's no system that they can even go after. If you want to create a DAO, for example, the government as it currently stands has no legal authority to go after a DAO. It's not a corporation in the traditional sense. The law doesn't have anything to do with it. And so all of these measures they're using right now to punish political opponents couldn't be done because it wouldn't be a corporation, it would be a DAO. This is the beauty of a reset, of reinventing things, of finding new ways around things, because the problem isn't really uh, the system itself. It's all the dams that have been placed in the rivers, blocking flows, making it not work the way that it should be. Yes, for those watching on repeat, we will definitely. I'm going to have to check that out. Let's see.
I don't know why it put that block of text. It's just supposed to put the Robert Reichy
Ah, yes.
link, because it's not that everything Robert Reichy says is necessarily applicable, but what he's saying is like having statistics alongside your mathematics to look at stuff. He gives you a very good way to like have another perspective at what's happening and look at like the roots of some of these problems we're discussing. Where in the timeline of America some of these decisions were made that result in some of the things we're seeing today.
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm convinced the problem isn't really rich or poor. The problem is a subset of the population at all levels of the economic strata that want to use the current government as it stands to control people.
Well, that's okay. Yeah. Okay. All right. I'm on board with that.
Yeah. Jeff, you will
Process.
find that there are far more people
Say
willing.
it's
You're a
75%
Bernie, right?
rich, though.
You
I'd
were
say
for
it's
Bernie,
75%
right?
the rich and then 25% the poor that are trying to use the current system. But yes, the current system has got to go. This is why I like, as far as all of the Alex Jones stuff and all that stuff. That's the yes. I think that he's afraid of the Great Reset because it means that his money goes bye bye, and a lot of people's money goes bye bye, and it should because they don't deserve castles. We are not in the time of kings and serfs. That's beyond
I
us,
think in
you
that
know?
situation, the problem is that in that situation, you were not just looking at one person who may or may not, because again, we can look at someone like Alex Jones or Bill Gates and both say, well, you know, maybe you do deserve your wealth, maybe you don't deserve your wealth. The the main thing is that with this great reset, it's not like they're just going to get rid of all power structures and all rich people. It's going to just get rid of all the petite bourgeoisie, the lower levels of
Yeah.
nobility. But
Well,
that's the thing.
Alex Jones is, I think he's worth like 10 mil, maybe 20.
Yeah,
He
but
wouldn't
what
even be touched
happens?
in
But the people who
reset.
are going to turn into the new elite, the new like the super wealthy who will ostensibly, you know, divide things up evenly. The pigs who are going to be more equal than we are, even though we're still equal. Um, these people want us to eat bugs and basically go back to being peasants. I'm not really want to give them their power. I'd much rather have a world where we have hundreds of thousands of Alex Joneses all fighting in the economic marketplace.
Oh,
In
my
order
fuck,
to have
dude.
more and more places, you
Dude,
need more redundancy. More redundancy creates more jobs. This also
but,
means that
but,
the wealth will be divided up not just amongst those entrepreneurs and small business owners, but also amongst their workers. And if you are a worker who has a problem, or say the person who runs your company, your king, essentially, has gone mad and now they believe in like race quotas, or that like now it's time to restructure society in some way or another. You can just say, oh, okay, this guy's crazy, but there's a billion other places I can go apply to work at. I'll just put my hat on and go elsewhere because this guy's nuts. If you have a completely centralized economy that's ostensibly trying to help people, and the person running that turns out to eventually one day be insane, you're stuck with it. Where do you go? The whole system's now been controlled by these singular entities who are all in collusion together. And I don't mean like a
yeah,
conspiratorial thing. I
no,
mean like the way that a social club is in
absolutely
collusion
not.
together.
Absolutely wrong. Checks and balances is where it's filtered out. And what Alex Jones is he might as well be the 500 Club. He
Well,
is a propaganda machine that is
yeah.
selling fear. He is a useless entity. He is literally rich because assholes and dumb hicks bought into his buckets of food theory.
I
It
mean,
is trash.
he was the only reliable source of information I could go to
No.
during COVID.
Oh my God, what are you talking about, dude? You're talking about his racist fucking Chinese dragon bullshit? That's what's reliable to you? Dude, like, okay, he might have been like
Does that
right about
racist
a big
Chinese dragon
pandemic.
have anything to do with the veracity of his reporting regarding COVID-19?
Yes, it does. It does, and it's been blown apart. There was zero truth to what he was reporting. It is literally like riding the coattails of Trump. There is no fucking validity. What? I took the vaccine. You took
Hmm.
the vaccine.
No,
We're
I
not
did
dead
not.
yet. When are
I
we
did not
supposed to
touch that
die?
shit. I am a pure strain, pure blood human. Thank you very much.
Okay, all right. Well, fine, fine. I thought I misunderstood, but that's I took the vaccine. I took both doses of it. When the second one came around, I was like the booster and all that shit. I was like, it's I'm not really into it,
Yeah,
and I didn't take it.
yeah.
I'm not
Alex
dead
Jones
yet.
said there would be boosters.
None of the people who took it were dead. That's there's 350 million people in this country, and like 300 million took it, and we're not dead. So, like, what is there's a kill switch with nanobots that are in our blood? Like, dude, his narrative has changed 18 times since COVID broke out. And this is shit that I was on the forefront of. Like, it was like I wasn't talking to a lot of people at that time, but like December of 2018 or 19 rather, I was like, this is some serious shit. There's massive protests going on in Hong Kong. and now there's this virus coming out in a rural part of China, about 300 miles away, and it really is very fishy because those protests were going to, like, they were going to democratize communist China. You know, the Hong Kong did not want to become the rest of the CCP,
Yeah.
but here we are. And I do believe, see, I'm not like a person who's saying, like, oh, all this shit is just political control. No, I really do believe that COVID was a man made thing, and that it's like, this
You mean
is
like how
like,
Alex Jones said?
yes, yes. But
Even though the mainstream media was saying that it wasn't man-made in the beginning, and now they're saying it are because they changed their story the same way they did with the Iraq War. See,
but
Alex
there
Jones's
is
story
just,
may have
you know,
changed,
I would be
but
100% on Alex Jones's side if there wasn't verifiable proof that he is just full of shit.
like what?
100%. Like, a broken clock can be right twice a day. Like, there is no reason why there's this mad chase for Brandon Biden. Like, it's just, it's horse shit, man.
To
He jumped on the Trump train, and Roger Stone brought those two together, and then that presidency imploded on itself with the advent of COVID, and it was like the perfect fucking like the perfect storm for the CCP and Russia to attack America, and Russia had already done it with the election, dude. Like, are you telling me that you think that Trump's some emperor god, and like billionaires are gonna save us?
I mean, do
I
you
would
think that
read that,
Bill
but it has
Gates
to be
and
a
Klaus
full
Schwab are
science
going to
fiction.
save you?
Wait, what?
Do you think that Bill Gates and Klaus Schwab are going to save you? Do you think that the
No,
government is
no,
going to save you? Do you think that
no,
then why do you
no, no,
vote for them when they say they're going to institute certain policies that you believe will help you?
no. I am not an advocate of all of that. Bill Gates and I don't know shit about Klaus Schwab, other than that I know that Alex Jones shouts about him all the time. It's I don't know who the fuck Klaus Schwab is.
He wrote the book on the
I
Great Reset, and he's basically I wouldn't say he's the leader guy, but he's definitely the face of the Great Reset, World Economic Forum, all that. But
believe
to,
in that. I believe in that heavily. I believe in the Great Reset. I think
okay.
that that's really like an avenue that could be pursued
So then
to fix.
Alex Jones was right about that existing too. The issue was just that you agree with it being implemented.
No, no, absolutely not. No,
So then the Great
no.
Reset isn't
What
happening.
Alex Jones has claimed, there are 99% of things that you're not talking about that he has claimed that were never true,
Like what?
but he was shouting about it on his program
The gay
and getting
frogs?
people to buy buckets of food and essential oils and colloidal silver while
Mostly he just
like,
sells multivitamins.
yes, yeah, yeah, the psychotic like overpriced multivitamins.
They're about
This
this. They're about
this this is
after the free shipping and double Patreon points and discounts. It looks like they're about the same as the vitamin shop that I actually go to.
dude, oh come on. All right. This is crazy. This is crazy, man. This is crazy shit. Okay,
Price checking?
where has the nuclear winter gone? Where
What
is it gone?
nuclear winter?
Because he was claiming that it was going to happen in 1999.
I believe that we could also ask where is the nuclear winter that the government promised us when it started airing more ads about a nuclear strike again. Now, the idea that we're both being strung along by media that's playing some sort of game at all ends is not something I'm against, but I also have to take into account the fact that the same way that I would wade through articles in the past and say, oh, well, this article is from this source, and it clearly has this bias or that frame. Like there was I believe I was showing Hocus and some other people an article, some news bit about a little girl who fell down a well, because God, we love those stories here. And I was explaining how,
Little girls and dogs.
yeah, it was a little girl who fell down a well, and you read the Fox News article, and it makes you think that a little girl fell down a well here in America, and that no one's helping her. If you read the CNN article, you would find out that it was a little black girl, and she was being a victim of racism in the world. And if you read the NPR article, it would explain to you that it was a little girl in sub-Saharan Africa, in rural sub-Saharan Africa, who fell down a well. And it just took them a bit longer to get her out than usual because they didn't have the same infrastructure and resources. It took away all of the alarmism altogether. And that was why I was like, okay, right now at this time, I go with the NPR. But that was, God, that was almost a decade ago, because NPR has gone fuck nuts insane. But that was this way that I would look at the articles and gauge the media that they are putting out then. I don't really know about Alex Jones prior to COVID. That was really the only time I sought out any alternative media, because it was just so obvious to me that they were lying, and that they were lying again in the same way that they had during the Iraq War. Even with the
Dude,
whole thing of like, oh, you're a terrorist if you don't get the vaccine, support the troops, trust the science. You're a terrorist if you question the war in Iraq, and so forth.
shit is too mixed up because yes, like it's he's right that the vaccine should not have been taken, but he's wrong that it has a kill switch in it, and that Klaus Schwab is like instilling some fucking new world government. It's really like way too mixed up.
Well, let me ask then, because we believe that this one world government, or at least this great reset, will involve a large amount of both public and private fusion in order to ensure that resources are in the eyes of the people who support it, distributed equitably, right? Equally, whatever term we're using now. So you would need some kind of entity that would verge upon being a one world government in order to ensure that's happening. In fact, you would need to turn the entire planet into a closed system in order to do that. So,
My ideal system would have the officials be making the same amount of money as the minimum wage and the same amount of benefits.
we could just
And
not have officials at all.
I
no,
can't get
that's
minimum wage.
the reason why you would become an official is for the pride of it, for the love of the work, for the passion of caring for your society, not personal gain. When personal gain is an attractive
Well,
benefit of being an official, you're corrupted at that point before you go to college. You know, when you look at the power that senators wield and you say, that's what I want, that's when you're corrupted. To me,
but then you can't be getting paid for what you're doing then. What you're talking about for minimum wage, there still should not be a minimum wage. I would like to interpret what you're saying as everybody would get enough money for food, enough money for rent, enough money for blah, 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 so they
more
don't
than
have to
that,
worry about it.
money for pleasure,
No,
to
I
chase
don't agree.
like
Not for
that.
pleasure.
Why not? What's wrong with that? That's let me tell you something, dude. The amount of money that the elite spend is exorbitant. It is more than enough for everybody to spend fucking $500 a month on their hobby.
That's a different case, though. I don't feel that has that encroaches on this. That's a different thing to judge and condemn or justify. That it's like if you smoke the nice cigarettes and I smoke the dirty cigarettes. Like, and I judge you for that. Like, those are two different stories. Like, what you're doing, what I'm doing are different things that don't
Sure,
have,
but
you know,
that's
like,
my
so
system allows for both. If you're allowed like $5,000 a month and you have very expensive habits, but you like to smoke cigarettes, so you decide to smoke the shitty sawdust cigarettes, then the business continues to allow to proliferate, and you get to chase your fucking hobby. You know, like what's the issue
see,
there?
the hobby should be what funds the pleasure income. There's a fucking word for that. Oh my god, I can't remember the word for it. I should remember it.
Yeah,
If my
sorry,
teacher knew who
I
I
didn't.
was, he would roll over in his grave because I don't remember the word for this kind of income.
Oh, passive income.
No, no, not passive. Income that you can just throw away.
Oh,
Disposable?
Yeah, disposable income. Thank you. Yeah, like the disposable income should come from the hobby that you pursue. If you're an
right.
artist, make art that's good, and the reward is disposable income or whatever. But
Yeah,
everything that you need has already been taken care of by this welfare. Let's not confuse it for being paid for your services, because everybody's going to get it, whether you're disabled or not. All your basic needs are going to be taken care of. I don't like the idea of minimum wage, because minimum wage depreciates the value of everything I do. Minimum wage means that I can invest my entire life into making something as perfect as humanly possible. And you can fucking take a shit and say that it's the same thing that I did, and they will pay you and value your effort exactly like mine. And that's not okay, because in that case, gold and silver are the same. In that case, shit and silver are the same. In that
well,
case,
that's
everything
what
is the same.
that's exactly what I'm saying. The minimum wage is bullshit. Yes, there should be a fucking livable wage, and that is it. And that's the bar that we should proceed up
No,
from.
because your wage, the way that money is set up and to work, unless somebody rediscovers a way to make money, the systems that involve money work different and economy to work different. The amount of money that you need to live is not connected to your wage all, because of the way that inflation works and other stuff works. The amount of money you make will never be directly correlated to the way that inflation is working. It might have like a slight relation, but there's different influences in supply and demand
Dude,
than minimum wage.
I don't
Uh,
see an issue here. I really don't see an issue. I
Well,
think it's
let me put it this way. I
no, what
guess
you
you.
want to pay, what you want to pay is not money for work. What you want to give people is enough to pay for their living expenses, and their living expenses aren't determined by how much you make. Your rent isn't determined by how much you're making. The rent goes up based on other things besides your minimum wage.
right. Well,
So if
landlords,
changing your minimum wage won't affect the problem. The problem is
well,
still the rest of the system, not how much money you're making. So to address that, pay take care of what the system is asking, separate of what you're paying people for their work. Now we go and we address people's work. Pay them what their work is worth. That is their discretionary and disposable. Discretionary was the word. Discretionary and disposable income. That is what they get to go to fucking sex shops and buy dildos with if they want. Like whatever
yes,
they want to do with it. But don't don't touch that money and chain it down to the money required to live, because that cost of living is going to change different than what the value of your work is. If you
yeah,
tie those two together, it will always cause problems. And that is one of the way that they've chained the poverty into poverty, by associating these values and telling us that this is the way it is. And instead of people breaking down and looking at the math and fucking taking an economics class and looking at how things are, the money is actually tied to the actions being taken, you realize that the whole idea of minimum wage doesn't work. It's a problem that they're giving us. It's a problem that they're putting on us, and we are accepting it because they're telling us it is the solution. Minimum wage is bad. You don't want to tie what your work is worth with how hard or how costly it is to live, especially when the system isn't set up in a way so that those two are actually related to each other. That's a relation that we're making in our head
I
and
hear you.
following.
I honestly just like literally clarified my entire point. Yes, you incentivize education, incentivize the raising of the bottom level of society to be able to participate on an intellectual level because everybody is capable of this level of thought. This is not rocket science at all. And
That would be
the
correct.
thing is that we're incentivized to stay stupid and remain consumers. And that's what's fucked up. That's what's really fucked up because that's what gives these corporations and political people their power, man. This is where I fucking agree with Alex Jones. However, like the method of how I get there is so superbly different that it's unspeakable that I can't sign on to any of the shit that he says, and he says so much racist shit that I'm just like, fuck that guy, dude. Fuck him and all of his millions, man. He hasn't struggled ever. His dad was a dentist. He fucking got on public access and found a way to grift, just like Joel Osteen and all these asshole Christians that are just fucking scum suckers. It's shit that I can't sign on to. But
I
what you
don't think
just
I've
said,
ever met a
yes,
Christian who
absolutely
likes
I can.
Joel Osteen outside of the people who go to his church.
Oh, dude, you haven't been talking to enough of them. So many of them buy his books,
Well, yeah,
even
if
if
they
they
go to
never
his
watched
church,
his show.
sure.
Dude, it's more than just the people who watch his
Can I
show or go to his church.
can I
It's
add
people.
something? So you were saying people who buy his books. So at one point in time, I took a job where I had to go door to door and talk to people inside their houses and stuff. And on top of everybody, like not everybody, but a lot of people greeting me with at gunpoint when they would open their door. Um, a lot of these people didn't speak a word of English, and they had in English the Joel Osteen book up on a shelf, showing the cover, so you could see, like, on display, so you could see on their bookshelf that they own the Joel Osteen book. And it was just like, I would sometimes ask them, like, "Can you read English?" And they'd be like, "No," and I just, be like, "Wow, they bought a book they can't read to show that they're really religious, I guess."
Hocus, it's a wealth talisman. No, see, the
Oh
thing
god.
is that like as far as reporting
Hey,
or any kind of trustworthiness
it's
or
the
anything,
antithesis of Santa Muerte because they have the cousins who were like telling them like, "Hey guys, like join this death cult. It's a lot cooler." Oh my god, do you guys know about Santa Muerte?
But
It
what?
is so much
Santa
cooler than
Muerte,
Breaking
Saint
Bad.
Death?
Yes,
I feel
yes,
like I've heard of this. I feel like I've heard of this.
dude, it's beautiful. I fucking love it. I fucking love it. I fucking love it. It is like what Catholicism leads to. Proper. In in Mexico, they like this religion. It was highlighted in Breaking Bad and like vilified, but it is just the coolest thing, man. Yes, it is a death cult, dude. It is like, yes, we need to kill this thing that we have that sucks, that's a cancer, and what's going to replace it is new life. It's there's like I've heard accounts. I haven't done it yet. I haven't set up an altar to Santa Muerto yet, I should say, to clarify. But when people do, they put they plant they put new seedlings, of plants, flowers, and things under their altar, on their altar to Santa Muerte, and
Mhm.
these plants proliferate and they grow into massive blooms, tons of them, and then they die faster than they should.
Huh.
It is so beautiful to me, dude. That is just like everything to me, man. Maybe I'm a psycho. Maybe I'm a Hunter S. Thompson fucking fuck all, but that is
You just
everything.
need to go. You just need to go to Numbers and talk to some goth chick.
I've
We can
been
never
there.
go back to Numbers, Hocus. You know this.
No, I go there. I go there once a month at least, or at least once a quarter, I'd say. And yes, I talk to the goth chicks, and they're hot and they have big titties, and that's awesome. But yes, it is. Dude, it is what I'm all about right now.
Well,
There's this trickster god that channels through me when I get drunk is 100p on board with the
yeah.
life and death cycle that comes
I would
with the worship
say that if
and
you're going to tangle yourself with trickster gods, just make sure that you're not one of the people it's tricking, and keep in mind what Dion Fortune says about the occult and when people are shopping for various entities. A lot of these different groups or factions within the occult will tell you, oh, oh, well, yes, you're performing these rituals and your teeth are falling out and you're losing your vision or you're getting very sick or your pet died and your spouse left you. All these bad things are happening, but that's just a part of it. Accept it. What's coming is better. And in reality, that never comes. You find people like Crowley with the
that's a cult.
Enochians.
That's a cult. Yeah, I'm not signing on to any of that, and I'm not like trying to lead people into a chasm for them to jump off into the depths. It's a slippery
I'm
slope.
dangerous, boys. I'm dangerous. I'll do the LSD and then I'll summon the occult. They won't be ready for me. They can't reason with me. They can't reason with me. They'll be like, but it's everything you want, and I'll be like, it isn't enough.
Well,
I want all of space, all of time.
and again, it's like this is where it becomes really important to look at the trickery and the use of language. Not to go back to the Alex Jones, because God, why God, am I gonna have to defend him? Am I gonna have to be an info warrior? Am I gonna have to stand here?
Really good on
But the issue is that you see a lot of crazy things on there. I believe it was really funny when I was watching an episode of Bannon's War Room where Naomi Wolf was on there, and she was talking about one of the things that people were talking about, the strange blood clots that a lot of embalmers and morticians have been talking about coming forward. And Bannon goes, where'd you get this information, Naomi? And she kind of looks around for a second and kind of like goes, Alex Jones. And he starts laughing. He's like, look, I love his rants. He's funny. He's our Daily Show, but you got to give me something better than that, to let me, get in on this, because there's different levels of validity or trustworthiness that people ascribe to different things. And that's why I think that a lot of people like saying, well, Alex Jones was right, because it turns out, I'll show him. I believe I showed our Master of Ceremonies one time a bit where Alex Jones was talking about the specific religion that he claims has infested the deep state with the idea of, child sacrifice, genital mutilation, all these different things, and he's sitting there going, and I just kind of clap on my knees and lean down and say, yeah, unfortunately, that was the most reliable source of info for the past 2 years. Like, that was just the way it was. The as far as like,
Look. It's easy to forget that he had a huge thing in his favor for a long time, and that was the whole. I mean, it's still a little bit, but like a lot more information has come to light, but for a long time, everything that was like related to the COVID vaccines was like fucking black sharpied out. And like you couldn't get any information on like what they knew about the vaccine that they were giving everybody. Like, you know, there was a lot of information that was just like blocked and removed from access to the public.
Oh yeah, and I
Like
mean
it
that
was all
was,
behind a veil. And so, you know, like
and that's why he'll have lots of people on talking about a variety of different things. But it's sort of like, if you're watching Joe Rogan, a lot of people don't distinguish between the host and the guest, where he will say, like the nanobots bit, we are hearing reports that, or this person is going to say this stuff. Now, as far as like any nanoparticles for controlled releases of substances or anything, that has more to do with nanofiber, carbon nanofibers, graphene,
that
and I
stuff is real. If you do a little bit of research on insulin, there's two major kinds of insulin that diabetics take. One is like a fast release, and the other one's called a long release. And this is the kind of thing that's being spoken about right now with the nanoparticles and stuff like that. It's the way that they make these things. They add like an inhibitor or something to buffer. Maybe it relies on temperature. It has to get to an activation heat before it turns on. But that's the kind of like nanoparticles, nanotechnology that's going into these vaccines. It's not like people think that there's a fucking little computer in there with a watch and a fucking laser that it shoots out. And it's like 00 Gizmo from MI6 inside everybody's blood, swimming around and fucking kicking their nervous system. No, it's not like that at all. Like there's no computer inside you. It's not like that.
I mean, I have seen some pretty crazy videos where it was like trying to say that some people, and it wasn't Alex Jones reporting this one. This was, I believe, Dr. Jane Ruby talking about, and a couple of other people who claimed they had put it under a microscope and found like weird Sentinel Matrix style robots, which, I mean, jury's out, but let's stick to
No,
the realm of probability in order to figure out what's actually going on.
there is
Okay.
something to be considered here. Like the fact that that nanotech that you're describing there is not what I'm talking about is in the COVID vaccine doesn't mean that someone else doing something else is developing that technology. Like that's
Also
probably
true.
happening. Someone is probably but it's not. I'd imagine even if it's being developed, this is like in the Marvel universe, Tony Stark, Iron Man level richness is what you need that kind of money to make enough to like reconstruct I don't know, your fucking eyebrow or some shit like that. It's not something that you or I are gonna get access to. Like if someone shoots you and your heart's fucking like got a hole in it, they're not gonna be like, oh here, let me put this nanotech on you. No, you're just gonna die. Like there's
Yeah.
not enough of that shit. Like maybe they would spare some for the president, but I imagine this is the kind of shit that like more like somebody above Elon Musk might get access to if they got injured.
Yeah. I mean, and also he always prefaces it with, we're hearing reports of this. It's never, now it's nanofibers, now it's this. I mean, as far as anything that he really committed to, it was the risks of myocarditis, the way that data was being manipulated, where they would say, oh, well, the people in the hospitals are the unvaccinated, even
Okay,
though.
yeah, this is where the issue is. He was manipulating data on his end. It was like there has been manipulation, data manipulation on their end, but he's taken it to a degree that where it says if you took the vaccine, you're gonna die because they
I
put
mean, I've
a
been seeing about 5 to 7 ambulances a day for the past year and a half. So,
there was a shitload of things in the height of COVID that like really like led people to believe like, oh shit, yes, this is really happening and it's really fucked up. But there is nothing to suggest that if you took the vaccine, you're gonna die. And that's what he's saying.
mm,
And this is where I divert.
I don't think the plan
because
is just to kill people outright, and it's not really meant to kill
I will
people
be
totally. You need
I
to.
will say something here so that nobody like believes that I'm on their side. I don't believe any of the information about any of this shit.
I mean, that's
I
probably
think
the best
20,
way to
30
be.
years from now, and I understand that what I'm saying is unreasonable for people asking me for my opinion now, but I think 20, 30 years from now, we'll know the truth. And
Agreed.
then it'll make sense. But like right now, I don't believe anything anybody's saying about like whether the vaccine works or it doesn't work or anything like that. I don't think that there's enough data for me to be convinced of either one because there's still like so much fucking like false information every day being pumped about for shit that has nothing to do with COVID. Like akin to like when our government's trying to fucking pass the COVID vaccines and they were attaching shit about abortion funding for abortion clinics to whether we like if you wanted to pass the bill that said like yeah there's gonna like pass the funding so the vaccines can be given for free in hospitals like to pass that bill they also had to pass an addendum to that bill that was like and so much money from this bill will go to abortion clinics like that's the kind of shit
That is
that
true. I mean, this is why a lot of the like, and this is again those abortion bills, all these extra things that are crammed in through COVID protocols are part of this Great Reset, and that's why Klaus Schwab's book on the Great Reset is explicitly talks about how the emergency situation that COVID creates can be used as an excuse to push all this other stuff through, and that's why it has to be perpetuated. I think that's why we're seeing more people getting sick who had two or more shots now with like random colds or other things like that. Meanwhile, you don't see that much happening with the people who didn't get it because the goal isn't necessarily to kill people, it's to create a new emergency situation, one inside the body where yeah, some people are going to die off from it, but the rest of the people are going to be, because again, you think about an attack, because I think ultimately it was an attack by the CCP. You don't want to just kill people off. That would be doing them a favor. It would almost be doing America a favor if you attack it by just kill shot sometime like 6 months later. The switch flips, they turn on the purple street lights or whatever, and people just drop dead. You're almost doing people a favor because at least those people are dead and you can begin making new people. You know that you've been attacked, you can essentially plan around it. But if you just leave a massive amount of the population with adverse reactions, crippling health issues, worsened health conditions, because any pre-existing condition that anyone I know who got the shots had just got worse. And you do
well,
that,
I
and now you
I
can
will admit this
justify.
much. As much as I hate to admit it, I did not ever have seasonal allergies or pet allergies before, and now I am a victim to it. I coincide like what coincided for me, what I attributed it to was that I moved out to the country, and I was out here in the country for a while, for about a year, and I didn't have the allergies, even though I was out here with all the trees and everything else. I did not have the allergies. Then I took the shots. Now allergies are like the fucking death of me, dude. I am taking Claritin and all types of shit and trying out Flonase, all types of things
You
to
aren't the
keep
only
my
one.
ability to breathe. So here's where I'm like, and as time goes by, my mom from the get-go with this COVID shit, she was like, it's the devil, the government's fucked, don't trust them, don't take that shit. And she's been like we were having fights and shit over it, and and at this point I'm like, fuck, dude, mom was right. Like I wish I'd never taken the shot, because I'm dealing with this shit now. I do not think it's life ending, and I'm glad for it all overall. because I know that shot cannot override like immunities 100%. And that's why they want people to take these boosters. And I'm not going to take these fucking boosters. Goddamn right. I'm not taking shit.
Have you ever
That's
heard of the tetanus vaccines in, I believe it was Ethiopia or maybe Nigeria?
no.
So the CCP, in conjunction with, I believe, Bill Gates, but don't quote me on that last part. I do know that the CCP was involved. And they gave them a tetanus vaccine, but this time around, they said, oh, this isn't your typical one and done, or even, I believe it was a 2-shot regimen at that time. They had them line up for, I believe it was a 4 or 5 or even 6-shot regimen of this tetanus vaccine, and the tetanus vaccine did protect against tetanus, but it also had been laced with a hormone that sterilizes the ovaries of a woman if she receives enough injections of it over a certain number of times and over a certain period of time. And so
Christ.
it was used
Yeah,
to.
I do believe this conspiracy. I do think that Bill Gates is the fucking devil. Continue. I know you've only just gotten into this, but
Oh no, you're good. The thing is that they had essentially done it to sterilize the people in Ethiopia, and a bunch of Catholic priests and pro-life organizations came forward, and nobody really wanted to believe them at the time because, well, they were pro-life and Catholic organizations, so everyone just dismissed everything they said. And the CCP is, of course, not going to blow the lid on that. They don't want anyone
Ooh,
to know
just
what
like
they're
Dave
actually
Chappelle.
doing.
Sorry.
Oh, you're good. Yeah. Just like Dave Chappelle. The so yeah, we've got a very large precedent for entities doing stuff like that to people. As far as, the actual shots go, I do hope I'm wrong, but I think that we're going to continue to see people dying in many ways that are written off as other things, like global warming. Like they're now saying that we have all these congenital heart defects, that all these babies are being born with heart conditions because of global warming, when in reality it's because the mRNA injections. And that's another thing with it, is that they tell us, what the ingredients are, what it's made up of, but they don't tell us what specific RNA messages are being sent through there. And so, oh shit, a clown. Sorry guys. I'm being accosted by a clown in a giant room of honey. I believe
There's a
this was
lot
from
of
the Old
fun stuff
Testament.
about the way that they list ingredients, because even if you give a chemical, I can tell you how many carbons, hydrogens, and oxygens are in a carbon chain, but without telling you how it's structured, it could be many of things. I could even tell you the structure, but if I don't tell you the orientation, it could be a poison or sugar. There's just a little
Yeah.
difference can mean like life or death with things like that. And it's funny how they like decide not to tell you what something's in there, and then like years later on a Netflix special, it's like, oh yeah, that's Windex. And you're like, wait, what? Why is there Windex in peanuts? What? Like,
Yep. And they just like with mRNA, you
there,
can tell
there
people
are
what
not
the
Windex
synthetic
in peanuts.
mRNA is
I
made
just
of.
made that up.
No,
That
you're
was a
good.
bad example.
No, what I mean, it's the idea is that you can essentially list some information, provide some information that makes it seem like you're being upfront and transparent, but in reality, it's just obfuscating what's actually going on. And again, they lied to
Yeah.
everybody. Like, I feel no smug satisfaction. Like, the only time I ever felt like any kind of anger was when I would try to warn people about it, and they would say, "Oh, just like QAnon," and it's like, no, not QAnon. Actually, QAnon was a psyop on all of you to make you think anyone questioning this is crazy. All of my stuff comes from from like a PBS article in 2017 talking about how deeply corrupted our entire like the system that is our checks and balances has become. Like, how much of the FDA's income comes directly from the companies it's supposed to regulate?
Like
It's like,
all of it,
yeah, like 50 to
because they
60%,
pay
maybe
taxes
40.
too.
Yeah,
Because they pay taxes too. So
but like,
unless you're
again, it
talking
was
about the
just pure
bribes.
lying. Like, they just lied to people. They twisted and warped everything the same way that they did it with the Iraq War, trying to demonize Saddam Hussein or tell us that if you didn't support it, then you were a terrorist or a domestic extremist or what have you. It was the same formula, the same way they always do things. Honestly, because I mean, your mom is right; they are evil.
That's you, audience. He's telling you, the audience, your mom is right.
I mean, I don't know. I really do think it was some kind of an attack, and I think that the CCP carried it out. I also believe that they did it at the behest of other entities working within our own. I hesitate to say government because it transcends the government. It's the administrative state in collusion with various corporate entities. But
I
the
feel like we
only
need to do a day where we play Risk on stream, and
Be
like
dope
people will
as
get a
fuck.
better understanding. People will get a better understanding for what's been happening in the world the last 5 years. Really, it should be more than that. But hopefully, people will get a better gauge for political maneuvers in a world scale. Like,
I might consider that.
sometimes you don't have to fire your cannon. Sometimes you can save the ammunition by just aiming your cannon at the weaker opponent. And then the other guy who's your rival will be like, oh, we're going to gang up on him and start the attack. Sometimes you don't even have to fire your cannon, you just have to aim it. And I'm talking about in the actual board game Risk. It doesn't mean anything what direction your cannon is facing on the board. It doesn't mean anything at all. But if you turn all your cannons to face the guy on the left side of the board, they like psychologically start to be like, why is he looking at me? Why are all of Jeff's cannons pointing at England? What is happening?
Do you dare to defy the crown? I'll show you the real meaning of a Habsburg double decker.
For a second, I thought you said upper decker.
Oh God.
Totally thought.
Oh
Totally thought that
no,
was what
no,
was
I don't.
going
That's
on.
only if you want to get in the skull and bones.
Yikes!
They call it the Westphalian Sanchez.
How do I keep getting invited to all these situations that I don't know anything about?
I don't know, buddy. I'm just so proud of you getting into Team Rocket. I'm sure they'll get around to looking at my resume.
I'm innocent. I swear. I swear.
This is like
I was just looking for the poke flute, and they were like, "You're a traitor." I was like, "Why?
this
Who
is
are
kind of like
you?"
the whole Keenan and Kel thing. Like Keenan got on SNL, but Kel didn't.
Oh man, yeah, you know that's got to be a real rough one.
Are they still friends?
I'm not
Keenan,
sure.
Kel, if you're watching or listening to this, give us a shout out. Let us know if you guys are still friends. I'm curious. This is
If
Hocus 7, by the
if
way.
memory
I'll be looking at it
serves,
on the Inquirer magazines the next time I go to the grocery store.
if memory serves, I believe that uh, Kel was the one who apparently Kel's kind of a mess, and he got kind of sloppy on Twitter with Keenan, and it hasn't been a good burger for him. Let's say it that way.
That was very, very good.
Life did
Very
not
nice.
take his order.
Like the product.
But yeah, I don't know. I feel like we've completely lost sight of everything. Much like America.
Much like America. Fuck yeah.
Getting sloppy on Twitter with Keenan. That's a great title.
We could make
I
that
want
a
to take a
segment.
second to get the people who are watching to hop in the chat. Say something. If you hate us, say it. If you love us, say it. It doesn't really matter. Just say something in the chat, please, because that helps.
All
We like to keep
21,000. Oh, that's the
doing
time.
this.
That's not the number of people.
Yeah, we might be at a point where we need to wrap it up pretty soon. But no, I don't know. Let them, if they just want to watch, let them watch. Let them follow their own. Their own truth.
This is just a personal request. I need to hear what people are thinking because there's 7 people right now watching. 6 people. One of them said fuck you. I'm not saying anything and I'm leaving. But if you're still here, say something, please. We will not tell you that you're stupid. We might actually, but it'll probably be a fun experience.
Only, you sign a consent form at the beginning, and then you give us a safety word. And we're only doing what you consent to do, letting us do, in not saying the safety word.
My
We
safety
also,
word is
see,
mongoose.
we think about like outside circumstances and situation. We give everybody a piece of chalk, and all the floor is made out of chalkboard, so you can write out your safety word if something's going wrong.
Right on.
Also, for security, we broadcast the whole thing on the internet. Everybody's watching, so we fuck up. It's televised, so we never fuck up.
I'd just like it on the record that I don't actually have like a physical safe word. My quote unquote safe word is a stern look.
I can
My
get
safe
behind
word is
that.
finishing. When I finish, it's not a word; it's the action.
A real man can stop him with a look, just like John Wayne.
Real man finishes when he wants to, on command. He's like, no.
John Wayne, I heard this. This might not be true, but it might be. John Wayne once choked a horse with a look, but it was like nobody liked this horse. Like, he's an asshole.
Oh, come on, dude. That's propaganda. Marion was selling that bill from the minute that he touched that horse. We all knew him and that horse had been dating for months.
See, now I'm more convinced that, he choked the horse with a look.
Fucking
He
horses
didn't
before
choke the
marriage, that's
horse
a
with his
slippery
huge
slope.
cock, as was circulated in old world Hollywood.
Well, I mean, going around choking horses, that's Old West stuff.
we got to put our stock in something new. Something new.
Yeah.
What's the new thing we're gonna be choking? Horses? I don't know. We either got to change. We got to change one of the two things. Either change the horses and we choke something new, or change the verb and we do something else with horses. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean,
I feel
we've
safer.
got
I feel
to.
safer knowing the internet. I feel safer changing the word horse than changing the word choke.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Small titty goth girlfriend is what was choked. And she requested it and enjoyed it thoroughly. Consensually.
What was amazing was that her safety word was "ugh," and she never made it. She never. She was like dead silent. She was dead silent like a book.
That should be everybody's like default basic automatic safety word. That's how we
Just so you know, I haven't been dating in a while, but my safety word is to cluck like a chicken.
Okay, see, that can get confusing for some
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
people.
5
Yeah.
words. Your safety words, 5 words.
Oh, they'll figure it out. Cock-a-caw, cock-a-caw,
Oh, I understand.
cock-a-caw.
I understand. See, I was hoping
Yeah,
you weren't gonna actually pluck, and it was pluck like a chicken, like you'd say that.
he'd be clucking like a chicken, and I'd be beating him to death with a baseball bat, and I'd be like, "Why is he not saying to cluck like a chicken?
Yeah,
He
to cluck like
clearly
a
has
chicken.
to be
Yeah,
done.
exactly.
He clearly has to be done. Like he's bleeding everywhere."
Yeah.
Mine is to Christopher Lambert like the Quicken. It's better out than defeated away.
Oh, this is not going my way.
Is this getting away from you, Jasper?
Oh no, I mean, I'm fighting what I think is a praying mantis made out of cabbage.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's just like in a Dostoevsky novel.
Yeah. You have to fight the vegetable to really see how society's to blame for the fight itself.
Naturally.
I feel like ultimately it's humans that are responsible for the fight.
Pretty
Therein
much.
lies the real question. Who is a vegetable? Because aren't we all just thinking thoughts that were thought before?
I guess it depends on the definition of the word, how we're applying it to the subject.
Absolutely.
Vegetables look at farming equipment and go, "Hey, look at that thought over there."
I think you
They
could argue
do.
swamp thing's a vegetable, or at least part vegetable.
If only this was 2004 and I could say my favorite vegetable's Terashavo. Is there a new comatose person whose private life we're turning into a political issue for personal gain? Can we find
I
one?
mean, just the same old standards.
Party cat. No, I don't know.
Would it be the party thing to do?
I mean, how
Well,
did
I'm
the Fonzie die? How did the Fonzie die?
He never died. He
Well, I
never
know he
died.
survived the motorcycle jump. He survived the shark jump. He survived.
No,
He did some pretty crazy stuff.
Hocus, no one in
Not
Happy
only did,
Days survived the shark jump.
yeah, I was about to
What?
say, not only did he survive the shark jump, but you could argue he somewhat survived one of the worst moments of televised history.
Perfect encapsulation of the TV universe, man. It was held to a standard that was uh, immaculate and sterile. Jumping the
Oh
shark
man,
really brought it down to the level of the dirty commoner.
my first exposure to televised psychopathy. I don't have a better word for it right now. Was I Love Lucy, and damn it, I love that show. I was like, this lady's fucking crazy. Like
Oh
everything she
yeah.
does is absolutely not okay. I'm like, no.
That entire show is designed for you to agree with Ricky and be like, "Bitch, you got some splaining to do. What are you doing?"
Yeah, he loves
No.
Lucy, right? She loves like pushing buttons and breaking boundaries, basically.
Look, Fred was right that like his best friend or whatever, maybe they weren't even friends, I don't know. But Fred was right. It's like the most amazing thing about Ricky was that he had a fucking full head of hair. He dealt with that psycho bitch and never pulled his hair out. Like,
That's because Ricky knew how to cheat and get away with it.
That's true. You just got to be a regular at a cabana club.
Oh my! You're
See, but then you get to.
that are
Did you
so
guys get to the
pointless
later
right now.
seasons?
Yes,
Did you guys?
that's
You did?
yes, the Ricky and Lucy show, like the way later show, where it was like
So,
way after
so
their marriage turned sour, and they were still doing it, and they had little
yes,
Ricky
kids.
and all this.
Yeah. So that's when you come to realize that little Ricky is a clone of Big Ricky,
Yes,
and Lucy's actually a robot cyborg thing that he uses to make the little Ricky clone, and he's a psychopath because he makes her crazy. He's actually
yes.
crazy.
Yeah,
He's
they're
actually the
both
insane one. She's
they're
just
both
programmed
crazy.
to be
Yeah,
crazy. She's just
for
like a
sure.
Stepford wife, programmed to do what she's programmed to do. He's the
Well, the
psychopath.
reason why she's going crazy is because it's like she's just stuck in this fucking apartment. Her only friend is Ethel, and
Yeah.
and Ethel is like completely controlled by Fred. But like they're both like breaking free and taking the red pill out of the Matrix to like fuck the shit up. That's why they got the job at the Vitamita Vegemin place and the chocolate place, so that they could be like, we're gonna shake things up, you know.
Oh God,
Look,
are
look,
people
look.
on the
You,
left
you
really trying
viewers,
to use red
you,
pill right now?
Oh
you
no
viewers that
no
have to
no!
do a
Hey
psych to
hey!
gender
Red,
studies term
red
paper.
pill was a leftist term to begin with. It was adopted by rightists. This is like the Wachowski sisters are sisters because they're trans. That entire story is about the path of a person who has been indoctrinated into the binary system and breaks free and says, "No, I'm going to be who I want to be, who it is that I feel I should be inside. I'm going to
So
bring
when did Neo go on hormone replacement therapy?
when he took the
Episode
red pill."
2.
That's what the red pill was. It was not some Alex Jones boner pill. It was not like, now I'm going to be even more in the Matrix, and now I'm going to pay my taxes even harder.
The red pill is actually Curtis Yarvin, not Alex Jones.
No, they all took it. They all took it. All of these rightists took it.
The
They're
red
talking about
pill.
the red pill so much. Yes, the red pill. That thing, and then the black pill. Oh my God. If you want to really dive deep into the filth of the internet, you can find
Oh no,
where there's
I'm well aware. Do not quote the magic to me, which I was there when it was formed.
like,
You're forgetting the white pill and the clear pill.
I don't know about all this. You have to educate me.
Oh, we don't have time for all the pills tonight. However, I finally got the badge. I got the diddling badge. I don't know what this one's called. The sticky badge.
Yeah, is that a
Congratulations.
badge? Right on.
Good
How
job.
many 12-year-olds did you diddle?
Oh man, I
Internet must get
that was actually in Kanto when we went to the Epstein Island, but I was unfortunately the 10-year-old boy in that situation. Well, this might be a fitting time for us to draw our Pokemon adventure to a close for the night. We've uh, we've had a great time. We've gone, oh wow, almost 30 minutes over. That's great. Thank you all for coming. Next time we will go through this weird construction site desert outside of the city that's New York or New Orleans or maybe Chicago if it wasn't landlocked. So tune in next week, everyone. Same Pokemon time, same Pokemon place. Until then, say goodnight to the fine people.
Good evening.
people.
Good night.